Being a parent can be tough, right? Especially when you see your kids struggling in school. They're bright, they have so much potential, but something just isn't clicking.
It can be really frustrating for everyone involved.
Yeah, absolutely. And today we're diving deep into a topic that might just hold the key to unlocking some of those roadblocks. It's something called auditory closure.
And you know what's fascinating? Most people don't even realize auditory closure is a thing,
That's true. I'd never even heard of it until recently.
but it plays such a huge role in how our brains make sense of the world.
Okay, so let's start with the basics. What exactly is auditory closure?
Well, think of it this way. It's your brain's ability to fill in missing pieces of information when you're listening. Like, imagine you're having a phone call and the reception is terrible.
Oh, yeah. I hate when that happens.
Right. You can still usually understand what the person is saying, even if some of the words get cut out.
Yeah, you kind of piece it together based on the con.
Exactly. Your brain is amazingly good at filling in those gaps. But for some people, those missing pieces make it really hard to follow along.
So for those people, it's not just a minor annoyance. It's like trying to understand a puzzle with half the pieces missing.
Exactly. And that's where auditory closure comes in. If your brain struggles with this skill, even small gaps in what you hear can make things incredibly confusing.
So how does this play out in a school setting? I imagine it can make learning pretty challenging.
Absolutely. Just imagine trying to learn in a noisy classroom where you're constantly missing parts of what the teacher's saying.
Or even just following multi-step directions, which kids get all the time.
Right. It can be super overwhelming. And sadly, a lot of kids get misdiagnosed because of this.
What do you mean?
Well, they might seem like they're not paying attention or that they're easily distracted.
It's not that they're not trying.
Right. They might be trying their hardest to listen, but their brain just isn't processing the information effectively.
So they get labeled as inattentive or disruptive, when in reality they're struggling with this underlying auditory processing issue.
Exactly. And this can lead to a lot of frustration for both the child and the parents.
Can you give us a specific example of how this might play out?
Sure. Let's say a parent is giving their child a simple instruction, like go upstairs, grab your blue jacket from your room, and come back down.
Sounds simple enough.
Right. But a child with auditory closure difficulties might only catch bits and pieces of that instruction, like go jacket down.
So they end up wandering around the house aimlessly, looking lost and confused.
Exactly. And the parent might think they're being defiant or spacey, but really they're just trying to make sense of what they heard.
That makes a lot of sense. And I bet this can happen in all sorts of situations, not just at home.
Oh, absolutely. It can happen in the classroom, on the playground, even during simple conversations.
It's heartbreaking to think of these kids feeling constantly lost and confused. What kind of impact does this have on them emotionally?
Well, imagine always feeling like you're a step behind, like you're missing out on inside jokes or key parts of conversations.
I could see how that would be incredibly isolating.
And it can really chip away at a child's self-esteem.
They might start to think they're not smart enough, or that something's wrong with them.
Exactly. And this can lead to a lot of anxiety, frustration, and even social withdrawal.
So it's not just about academic struggles. It's about their overall well-being.
Right. And the worst part is it often creates this vicious cycle. The child struggles, gets mislabeled, and then their self-esteem takes a hit, which makes them even less likely to succeed.
So they're kind of set up to fail.
In a way, yes. And this is why it's so crucial to identify and address these auditory processing difficulties early on.
Okay, so we've painted a pretty bleak picture here. But is there any hope for these kids? Can anything be done to help them?
The good news is the human brain is incredibly adaptable. We used to think that the brain was fixed after a certain age.
Like you couldn't teach an old dog new tricks.
Sure. Right. But now we know that's simply not true. The brain has this amazing ability called neuroplasticity.
Which means it can change and form new connections throughout our lives.
Exactly. And this applies to auditory processing as well. With the right kind of training, the brain can become much better at filling in those missing pieces of information.
So even if a child is struggling with auditory closure, it's not a life sentence.
Not at all. There's still so much potential for improvement.
That's encouraging to hear.
Yeah.
So how do we tap into this neuroplasticity? What can parents do to help their children develop these crucial auditory processing skills?
Well, think of it like a muscle. The brain needs exercise to get stronger, and there are specific exercises and activities that can target and strengthen those auditory processing pathways.
So it's kind of like a personalized workout plan for the brain.
Exactly. And research shows that consistent, engaging stimulation is key.
So we're not talking about those old school listening drills I remember from when I was a kid.
No, thankfully not. Those are pretty tedious.
I can imagine. So what are some of these newer, more engaging approaches to improving auditory processing?
Well, there are some fantastic programs out there now that are designed specifically for this purpose.
Like what?
One program that's been getting a lot of attention lately is called Attentive Ear.
Attentive ear.
hmm
Okay. I'm intrigued. Tell me more.
Well, it's a home-based program that uses a variety of fun and engaging activities to help children improve their auditory closure and other auditory processing skills.
Home-based. That's great. So
Yeah.
parents can actually play a key role in helping their children develop these skills.
Absolutely. And that's one of the things that makes this program so effective. Parental involvement is crucial.
Makes sense. When children feel supported and encouraged by their parents, it gives them that extra boost of confidence.
Exactly. And it creates a wonderful opportunity for bonding and connection as well.
That's fantastic. But I know what some parents might be thinking. Right now, their lives are already so busy. How are they supposed to find the time to squeeze in one more thing?
I hear you. But that's the beauty of this program. It's designed to be flexible and easy to integrate into your daily routine. You don't need any special equipment or training.
So we're not talking about hours of tedious drills.
Not at all. Many of the activities only take a few minutes, and they're designed to be fun and engaging for kids.
So it's not like pulling teeth to get them to participate.
Exactly. And the program covers a wide range of skills, not just auditory closure, but also things like working memory, attention, and language development.
So it's really about building those foundational cognitive skills that are essential for success in all areas of life.
Exactly. And what's really exciting is that the program is based on the latest research in neuroplasticity.
So it's not just a bunch of random activities. They've actually been scientifically proven to be effective.
Right. They use a variety of techniques that have been shown to help children rewire their brains and improve their ability to process auditory information.
That's amazing. So it's like giving their brains a targeted workout to strengthen those specific areas that need improvement.
Precisely. And the results have been very impressive. Studies have shown children who practice regularly experience significant improvements in their auditory processing abilities.
As well as in their overall academic performance, social skills, and self-esteem.
Exactly. It's really quite remarkable.
So this is starting to sound like a game changer for parents who are worried about their children's struggles in school.
Yeah.
But I am curious, how does Attentive Ear address those social and emotional aspects we talked about earlier?
Well, remember how we discussed those misunderstandings and frustrations that children with auditory processing difficulties often experience?
Yes, absolutely. Like constantly feeling lost or out of the loop.
Right. Well, Attentive Ear helps children develop the skills they need to better understand and process auditory information.
So they're less likely to misinterpret instructions or miss key parts of conversations.
Exactly. And this, in turn, can have a huge impact on their social interactions.
Because when children feel more confident in their ability to communicate and understand others, they're more likely to engage socially and build those all-important friendships.
Exactly. And as their social skills improve, their self-esteem gets a boost as well. It's like a positive feedback loop.
It's amazing how interconnected all these aspects of a child's life are. And it's so empowering to know that there are tools like Attentive Ear that can help them thrive in all these areas.
It really is. And it's not just about fixing a problem. It's about helping children unlock their full potential and live happier, more fulfilling lives.
I love that perspective. But I have to ask, what about those kids who are already teenagers or even young adults? Is it too late for them to benefit from a program like Attentive Ear?
Not at all. It's never too late to improve your brain's ability to process information.
So even if someone has struggled with auditory processing issues their whole life, there's still hope for improvement.
Absolutely. Neuroplasticity is a lifelong process. Of course, the earlier we intervene, the better. But even older individuals can experience significant benefits from targeted brain training.
That's such encouraging news. But I do wonder, what about those parents who are skeptical? They've maybe tried other things in the past that haven't worked. How do we convince them that Attentive Ear is different?
That's a great question. I think the key is to emphasize the science behind the program. It's not just another fad or a quick fix.
It's based on solid research.
Exactly. And I think it's also important to highlight how user-friendly and engaging the program is for both children and parents.
So it's not about forcing kids to do boring drills. It's about making learning fun and motivating.
Precisely. And the program comes with clear instructions, helpful tips, and ongoing support.
So parents don't have to feel like they're doing this alone.
Exactly. They have all the guidance they need to succeed.
It sounds like they've really thought of everything.
They have, and I think that's what makes Attentive Ear such a powerful tool for parents who are looking to support their children's learning and development.
It's about giving kids the tools they need to succeed, not just academically, but also socially and emotionally.
Exactly. And that's what makes this work so rewarding. When we can help children overcome these challenges and flourish, it's truly inspiring.
This has been an incredibly insightful conversation. We've covered a lot of ground, from understanding what auditory closure is and how it impacts children, to exploring the amazing power of neuroplasticity and the effectiveness of programs like Attentive Ear.
It's been a pleasure discussing this important topic with you.
But before we wrap things up, I want to shift gears slightly and talk about the bigger picture. We focused on individual children and their struggles. But how does understanding auditory closure impact our perception of learning and development as a whole?
That's a fantastic question, and one that deserves careful consideration. I think it really challenges our traditional assumptions about intelligence and potential.
So it's not just about individual struggles, but about rethinking our entire approach to education and support.
Exactly. Imagine if we as a society were more aware of the diverse ways in which children process information, not just auditory, but visual, kinesthetic, you name it.
We'd be able to create learning environments that truly cater to individual needs, not just a one-size-fits-all approach.
Precisely. And we'd be less quick to label children who learn differently and more likely to provide them with the targeted support they need to succeed.
Think about the long-term implications, not just in the classroom, but in their careers, their relationships, their overall well-being. If we can help children develop these foundational skills early on, we're setting them up for a lifetime of success.
It's an investment in their future and in the future of our society as a whole.
And the best part is, it's not some complicated, expensive intervention. We've talked about programs like Attentive Ear that are accessible and affordable for families.
It's empowering to know that parents can make a real difference right from the comfort of their own homes.
Absolutely, and it goes beyond just addressing auditory closure. Remember those articles we discussed? They emphasize that parent involvement is key regardless of the specific challenge a child faces.
When parents are actively engaged in their child's learning journey, it sends a powerful message of support and encouragement. It creates a safe space for the child to explore, to make mistakes, and to grow.
It's about building that unshakable foundation of confidence that allows a child to truly blossom.
And that's what it's all about, isn't it? Helping each child unlock their unique potential and shine brightly in their own way.
So as we wrap up this deep dive, what's the one key takeaway you want our listeners to remember?
If your child is struggling, if you see those signs of auditory processing difficulties, don't brush them off. Don't let them be dismissed as not paying attention or just being difficult. There's a chance there's something more going on, and the good news is there's help available.
Take that first step. Get informed, explore resources like the ones we've discussed today, and most importantly, believe in your child's ability to grow and change.
Because the brain is an incredible thing, and with the right support, there's no limit to what a child can achieve.
And that's a message of hope and empowerment we can all get behind. Thanks for joining us on this deep dive into auditory closure. Until next time, keep learning, keep exploring, and keep believing in the power of possibility.
Exactly. Imagine if we as a society were more aware of all the different ways kids learn. Not just auditory, but visual kinesthetic, the whole spectrum.
It would totally change the game, right?
Yeah.
We could create learning environments that actually cater to each child's unique needs.
Exactly. Instead of trying to force everyone into the same mold.
And think about how much less frustrating it would be for those kids who learn differently.
Absolutely. They wouldn't be constantly struggling to keep up or feeling like they're falling behind.
They could actually thrive and reach their full potential.
Exactly. And imagine the impact that would have, not just in the classroom, but in all areas of their lives.
It's amazing to think about. It's like we're holding them back by not recognizing and supporting those different learning styles.
We are, in a way, and it's not just about academics either. Think about their social skills, their emotional well-being, their overall confidence.
Yeah, it all ties together. If you're constantly struggling to understand what's going on around you, it's bound to affect your self-esteem and your ability to connect with others.
Exactly, and that's why it's so important to address these issues early on.
But the good news is, it's not some impossible task. We've talked about programs like Attentive Ear that are making a real difference in children's lives.
And they're so accessible, too. Parents can literally do this from home.
That's what I love about it. It empowers parents to take an active role in their child's learning journey.
And it doesn't require any special training or expensive equipment.
It's all about providing those consistent, engaging activities that help strengthen those auditory processing pathways.
And remember those articles we talked about? They really emphasized how crucial that parent involvement is.
Regardless of the specific challenge a child is facing.
Exactly. When parents are actively engaged, it creates this incredible bond and sends such a powerful message of support.
Like, I'm here for you. I
Yeah.
believe in you. We're going to figure this out together.
Exactly. It's about creating that safe and nurturing environment where children feel comfortable exploring and taking risks.
And isn't that what learning is all about? Stepping outside of your comfort zone and trying new things.
Absolutely. And when children feel supported and encouraged, they're so much more likely to embrace those challenges.
So it's not just about fixing a problem. It's about nurturing a child's natural curiosity and love of learning.
Exactly. And that's what makes this work so incredibly rewarding.
Because when you see that spark ignite in a child's eyes when they finally get it, it's the most amazing feeling.
It really is. It makes all the effort worthwhile.
So as we wrap up this deep dive, what's the one message you want our listeners to take away?
If you're a parent and you see your child struggling, don't give up hope. There is help available, and it's never too late to make a difference.
The brain is an incredible organ, and with the right support, there's no limit to what a child can achieve.
That's the beauty of neuroplasticity.
It's a message of hope and possibility.
And that's what we need to hold on to.
Absolutely. Thanks for joining us on this deep dive into auditory closure. Until next time, keep learning, keep exploring, and keep believing in the power of possibility.